Hare Krishna. Summary of Canto 5, Chapter 5. Lord Rishabhadeva's teachings to his sons. In Brahmavarta, Rishabhadev started to instruct his very attentive sons. In order to establish Bhakti Yoga, Lord Rishabhadev first said that material enjoyment should not be practiced as the goal of life for a person who has taken a human body. He said, of all the embodied beings, one who has been awarded this human form should not just keep working hard simply for sense gratification, which is available even for the dogs and hogs that eat stool. One should engage in austerity to attain the divine position of devotional service by which one's heart is purified and which leads to bliss in relation to the Lord. How do we accomplish this? One can accomplish this by service to Mahatmas, because service to Mahatmas opens door to liberation. Associated with very materialistic people opens doors to hellish condition of life. Mahatmas are equipoised, peaceful, devoid of anger, friendly to all, and they do not find faults. Mahatmas in general are of two types. One is the worshippers of the impersonal Brahman, and the other is a devotee. Among the two types of Mahatmas, devotees are superior. They have extraordinary qualities, and the qualities of a Mahatma include that they are eager to develop love for God, and they make love for God as their goal of life. They are disinterested in mingling with people who are very busy maintaining their bodies. They are unattached to their houses, wife, children, friends, or wealth. They are interested only in collecting enough money to keep the body and soul together, or to maintain a household life to glorify the Lord. So, sense gratification only leads to perpetual transmigration. When a person considers sense gratification the aim of life, he certainly becomes mad and engages in all kinds of sinful activities. So Rishabhadev said, I do not consider such actions very befitting, because they lead to another temporary body which gives so much suffering to the jiva, although this jiva actually has no connection with it. One is defeated and subjected to miseries arising from ignorance as long as one does not inquire about the spiritual values of life. As long as fruitive activities continue, be it pious or sinful, the mind remains absorbed in action, and the bondage to repeated bodies results. Therefore, even pious actions lead to samsara and suffering. But all karmas, be it pious or impious, they can be destroyed by suitable knowledge. Due to a covering of ignorance, avidya, the jiva performs actions that fix the mind upon another action. Until one has love for Lord Vasudeva, or until bhakti appears, he will not be delivered from this body. To be a devotee, one must be free of all material desires. A learned man is mad and foolish if he doesn't see the futility of the endeavor for sense gratification. Forgetting his own interest, he suffers in a home centered around temporary relationships. The attraction between male and female is called as the double knot of hearts. It creates an attraction to body, home, property, children, relatives, and wealth. And in this illusion, one thinks, I am this and this is mine. Then when does liberation takes place? When does liberation take place? The strong knot of the heart due to karma, when it is slackened, one gives up the basic principle of illusion of aham mameti, that is I and mine, and liberation and entrance into the transcendental world is possible. How is that knot slackened? The process to destroy the ahankara and attain liberation is by following the guru with devotion, detaching from matter, tolerating dualities, realizing the miserable condition of the jivas, inquiring about the absolute truth, performing austerities, giving up endeavor for sense enjoyment, engaging in devotional activities, hearing about the topics of the Lord, associating with the Lord's devotees, chanting and glorifying His his transcendental qualities, trying to be without any enmity, seeing everyone with equal vision, subduing anger, abandoning bodily identification, reading the revealed scriptures, living in a secluded place, practicing the control of life, air, mind and senses, developing faith in the Vedic scriptures, observing celibacy, performing one's prescribed duties, avoiding unnecessary talks, seeing the Lord's presence everywhere, acquiring knowledge which produces realization, and practicing yoga. By following these instructions, one will become free from the ignorance of desire for fruitive activity, and the knot of bondage in the heart will actually be given up. Then one should also give up the process of trying to get liberation. The process of liberation is Brahma Jignasa or Neti Neti, the process by which one analyzes existence to search out for the absolute truth. This analysis constitutes only until one is situated in Parabhakti or transcendental devotional service to the Lord. One can give up the practice of yoga, but bhakti should never be given up. A father, guru, or king who desires to go back to Godhead should consider the Lord's mercy his chief aim of life. He should instruct his dependents without becoming angry despite their incompetency. He should never engage them in karmas. This would be like throwing a blind man into the well. This is the responsibility of a true leader. They have the qualities of the people who are ignorant are that they have lost sight of their own best interest and they are bound to material enjoyment by lusty desires. They create a society of envy in exchange for very little happiness. Such fools do not realize the unending suffering. How could a learned, merciful, and advanced person engage an ignorant person in fruitive activity and further entangle him in material existence? It is like guiding a blind man in the wrong path. One should not become a superior if he cannot deliver his dependents from the path of repeated birth and death. Therefore, such a master can actually be rejected. There are many examples of great devotees who have rejected their superiors who were not able to deliver them. For example, Bali Maharaj rejected Shukracharya, Vibhishana rejected Ravana, who was his own brother, Prahlada rejected his father Hiranyakashipu, Bharata rejected his mother Kaikeyi, Katwanga rejected Indra, who was his worshipable deity. The wives of the Brahmanas in Krishna Leela rejected their husbands. Now the sons of Lord Rishabha might ask, where is the Lord to whom we should perform bhakti, and where is the devotee whom we should serve in order to attain this bhakti? So now Rishabhadev declares that he is indeed the Lord. Lord Rishabhadev began telling, my transcendental body is inconceivable. My heart, which is the seat of all spiritual qualities, resides where there is dharma and bhakti. I have left adharma far away from me. For these reasons, respectable persons call me the best Rishabha. That Mahat whom they should serve is their eldest brother Bharata. Bharata's service includes my service. He said, you are all born of my heart, therefore you have my qualities. Worship your eldest brother Bharata with pure intelligence and you will protect the citizens automatically. In order to teach how to serve the Brahmanas, Lord Rishabhadev then establishes them as the best among people. He spoke about the glory of Brahmanas. He said that inanimate objects are lower than immovable living entities, which are lower than movable entities, which are lower than animals, and animals are lower than human beings. Human beings are lower than pramatas, pramatas are lower than gandharvas, gandharvas are lower than siddhas, and then comes the kinnaras and followed by the asuras, the devatas, Indra, then Daksha, Lord Shiva, Brahma, and finally the Supreme Lord. He said, because I am inclined to the Brahmanas indeed are the best of all. The Supreme Lord is called as Brahmanya Deva. The Brahmanas referred to here are qualified Brahmanas, not the caste Brahmanas. Brahma is superior to Lord Shiva because he is the father and he serves the Brahmanas. But Shiva is superior to Brahma because he is a Vaishnava and has all superior prowess. Rishabhadev said, I eat through the Brahmana's mouth. I do not find anyone comparable to the Brahmanas. I derive more pleasure from the food offered through their mouths than the food offered in the sacrificial fire. The Brahmanas support my body in this world in the form of the Vedas. The 8 qualities of Brahmanas are that they are situated in the purest Sattva Guna, they are fixed in mental control, they are sense controlled, they are truthful, they are merciful in preaching the purpose of the Vedas, they are austere, tolerant, and they have realized the position of the Jiva and the Lord. The perfect Brahmanas who are Vaishnavas are described. Brahmanas do not seek material comforts from the Lord, who is very opulent, almighty, superior to all, and the bestower of heaven and liberation. Then what could they need from any other living being? They are without any possessions and simply engage in devotional service. Worship the Brahmanas, he told his sons, but he also said you should definitely respect all living entities. He said respect all moving and non-moving beings with pure vision and without any envy, knowing that I am situated in them. In this way, offer respect to me. But how should you worship me? There is no liberation without bhakti. Engaging the mind, sight, words, and all the senses in my service in worship of me, with such service, one cannot get out. Without such service, one cannot get out of the material existence, which is exactly like Yamaraj's stringent rope. Thus, the great well-wisher of everyone, the Supreme Lord Rishabhadev, instructed his own sons, although they were perfectly educated and cultured. He did this just to set an example. Rishabha then enthroned Bharata, who was the topmost devotee and the follower of the Vaishnavas. Although still at home, Rishabhadev lived like a madman naked. Then he took the sacrificial fire within himself and left home to tour the entire world. Accepting the feature of an Avaduta, a great saintly person without material cares, Lord Rishabhadev acted like a dull, blind, dumb, deaf, ghostly man. Taking a vow of silence, he did not respond to people who addressed him. Rishabhadev wandered alone through towns, villages, mountains, forests, and so on. He remained indifferent like an elephant surrounded by flies. Though he was always threatened, beaten, and people spat on him, people threw stones at him, still he never cared for anything. He never cared for any sort of material insults. Lord Rishabhadev, in spite of taking on this appearance as an Avaduta, he was extremely beautiful. His hands, feet, chest, shoulders, face and limbs were all well placed. His face was beautifully decorated with a natural smile and reddish lotus eyes. The irises of his eyes were very pleasing and removed the troubles of everyone. His forehead, ears, neck, nose, and all other features were beautiful. His gentle smile made his face beautiful and awakened Cupid in women. Hair was abundant, curly, matted, brown, and disheveled. He appeared as if haunted by a ghost. Seeing people antagonize to his execution of mystic yoga, he accepted the behavior of a python. He remained in one place, sleeping and eating, drinking, urinating, and passing stool. He rolled on his own stool and urine so that opposing elements would not disturb him. One may consider this disgusting, yet for the Lord it is transcendental and blissful. His stool and urine filled 8 miles, 10 yojanas of the countryside with pleasant fragrance. Imitating people who are like cows, deer, and crows, he would sometimes move, stand, sit, or lie down. In this way, he ate, drank, urinated, and passed stool. Lord Rishabhadev, the master of liberation, performed many types of yoga and was fully absorbed in transcendental bliss. In him awakened the loving symptoms of crying, laughing, and shivering, and directed to himself in the form of Vasudeva. Due to this, all mystic powers, such as the ability to fly in the sky at the speed of mind, to appear and disappear, to enter into the bodies of others, and to see things far away, automatically approached him, but he did not exercise any of these powers. This ends the summary of Canto 5, Chapter 5, Lord Rishabhadeva's teachings to his sons. Hare Krishna.